Oh, it's over here. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. What are you doing? I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today we're going to be talking about MC romances. So before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Oh my gosh. So before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're still doing our Road to 1K giveaway. Mandy, would you like to tell them what the heck you're doing? Or what that is?
I'm showcasing.
You're showcasing. It's getting late and Mandy's getting tired. So we are going to be giving away Flawless by Elsie Silver. It is a signed copy. We got it this weekend at Love in Seattle. And so we will be giving that away when we hit 250 subscribers. There it is. See, look at that. Also, make sure you like us or follow us on Instagram, which is linked below, because we'll be giving extra entries to those who are following us on Instagram. So make sure you do that as well.
Please like us.
Mandy just wants to be liked.
I do.
She does. Yeah, she does. Okay, so Mandy, you can put that down. Let's talk about MC romance.
Let's, Jessica.
What the heck is wrong with you?
Okay, Jessica, my first recommendation is Craving Constellations by Nicole Jacqueline. Mm-hmm. Could you hold this for me while I look at it?
Sure.
Okay, this book is about Brenna, and Brenna's dad is president of a motorcycle club.
Okay.
Nope, he wasn't the president. He was the vice president.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And when he raises her, when she's 18, she leaves and goes off to college. When she goes back to visit her final time that she goes to visit, she ends up sleeping with Dragon, who doesn't know that she's the VP's daughter. And then they have this night together. They have this huge connection, but she still leaves because she just wants to leave the motorcycle club behind. So this book really starts though with her leaving her abusive husband that she's been with for several years with her daughter. And she goes back to her dad because she really has nowhere else to go. And he is horrifically abusive. So please check triggers, because there's a few things that happen in this book that might be, if you have triggers, that might be bothersome for you. So she returns back, and right away everyone notices that her daughter is this spitting image of Dragon, which causes a lot of problems in the motorcycle club because there's loyalty issues with the fact that she's the VP's daughter and things like that. So this is kind of their bumpy road. I really enjoyed this book. My only complaint is I would have liked to have read more about them.
I know, I loved that book. It was really, really good. Yeah. Okay, so my first recommendation is Coin by, this works out great, by Kay Webster. So obviously this is a Kay Webster book, so please check your triggers because they have, these are really good. Yeah, these are gritty, dirty motorcycle gangs, gritty.
I can only imagine if Kay's writing them.
Pretty much. So this is about Jared Koinakova, which is where you get the coin from, and Hadley. So in the beginning of the book, Jared's family, his wife and his kid, are murdered brutally by this, I believe it's a mafia family if I remember right, but they're brutally murdered. And then his face is scarred, which is where you see the X on his face. And so then we fast forward 10 years later, he has, he was just an accountant or something. He didn't do any major, crazy job. He wasn't an assassin or anything. He was just an accountant. And then this happens and he wants to get revenge. So we fast forward 10 years later, he started up this MC and he is out seeking revenge, trying to hunt down the people who murdered his family. So he sees Hadley, who is a runaway, and he thinks she looks a lot like his daughter, which is just a little weird, but it's okay. It works itself out. And so he takes her home. He takes her back to his house, and things progress from there. But she belongs to a family that's kind of connected to everything that's going on. So you have all that drama between the two of them. She is younger. a lot younger. This is a huge age gap, and this also has some daddy kink. So.
All right, I'll just be taking this book home with me.
I know. Yeah. I'll take that. Thank you back.
Okay, so my next book is, I don't have this book, so you're going to have to pretend you're holding a book right now. It's called Sugar and Skulls by L.M. Terry. It is dark romance as well, so just be forewarned to check triggers. I mean, when we're talking MC books, you probably should check triggers regardless if you have triggers.
Yeah, pretty much all MC books are dark.
So this follows Jessie and Dirk. Jessie meets Dirk when she is young and her foster brother is being like wildly inappropriate with her. And so Dirk steps in and stops the situation and tells Jessie sometimes you just have to be mean. And he's trying to give her some life advice because she's just kind of in a shitty situation going from foster family to foster family. This continues. And then eventually Dirk comes back into her life when she's working at like this tattoo shop. And this is like age gap, and it's dad's best friend because when she's little, he's watching her for the dad, and all of this is explained in the book, but that's kind of where it starts. But she kind of goes a little off the rails, and so there's a lot that happens in this. It's crazy intense.
Okay. All right. I haven't read that one yet. I'm going to have to.
Just know it's age gap. I realize that there's a theme with most of my MC books.
You think? Age gap?
Which you will notice here in a minute.
Age gap, yeah. Okay, so then my next one is Reaper's Property by Joanna Wild. This is one of the very first MC books that I ever read. So as far as MC goes, it does have dark elements, but it is lighter. It's a lighter MC. Not very light. Do check your triggers though. But this is about Marie. And when Marie has escaped an abusive husband and she's living with her brother in his trailer. They're very down on their luck. The brother has been selling drugs and doing things he's not supposed to. She's just trying to make ends meet, and she's just trying to survive and like to build her life after leaving her husband, her abusive husband. Her brother has started hanging out with this group of guys who start showing up at her trailer, and they are riding in on their motorcycles, and one of those guys is Horse. You can only guess why he's named Horse.
Jessica.
It's true. He says it in the book. His name is Horse, and he is a part of the MC, and he likes Marie, and he asks her at one point to be his old lady, and she says no because she's outside the club, and she's like, no, that is horrible. Why would you call me an old lady? I don't want to be your old lady. And so when something happens with her brother, where the MC has to retaliate, they take her. And he's like, well, you wouldn't be my MC, so now you're just going to be my club hoe. And things go from there. So it's really good. Joanna Wild actually got a lot of, like, there were a lot of negative comments because a lot of her guys are named, like, Horse. The other one's named Picnic. Like, all these weird names. But she actually hung out with an MC. And that's what their names were like. It wasn't, you know, Reaper and Skulls and whatever. It was Horse. It was Picnic. It was just weird things like that. So she does talk about that. But these ones are really good. I really like them.
Okay. Before I get to the rest of my age gap romances.
Oh, age gap.
I'm going to talk about It Ain't Me Babe by Tilly Cole.
So good.
Yes. Tilly Cole. Woo! Can she write some dark stuff?
Oh, I know.
So if you have to check triggers for anything, it would be this series. There's a lot that happens in here. So this really focuses on a motorcycle club and also a cult that does horrific things. It's actually, for me, when I started reading this series, I had to take a little break because it was just too much. But it's so good, but it's too much. And part of what it feels like too much for me is that if you read some of her back information on this, she actually worked with people who'd been in cults and did her research based off of their interviews with her and things like that. And so when you think that this is like based on like things that have actually happened to people, it makes it even like more
it's
like
horrific.
Sad, horrific. Yeah, definitely. So the first book focuses on May and Styx. They meet when May is just little, and so is Styx, and they meet through a fence. And he remembers May because she has the wolf eyes. And Styx is mute. He has a really hard time talking. He has a severe stutter. And so he was able to talk to May when they're in the woods together. He could talk to his dad and he could talk to his best friend. But anybody else he signs with because he just can't get his words out. And so we fast forward and May escapes a pretty horrific situation at the cult. And she ends up through a series of events at their clubhouse. And she is on the brink of death, basically. And he orders them to try and save her. And then he realizes that he knows her and who she is. And that's really just kind of, that's how like all of this happens, like basically at the very beginning of the book. And this starts off their story. It is really good. Really good.
It's
the
one of my
whole series is really good.
Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite books.
So good.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite books, for sure. So that one is dark. But
I'm sure you're going to outdo it.
I'm going to outdo it. I am. This one, we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to actually put a spoiler warning up and tell you if you don't want to hear the spoilers to jump ahead, and we'll do that in a minute. I'll warn you before we do that. But this is the Torment Duet by Dylan Page. So this one is about Shay and Mina, and there is also a third in here, and I cannot remember his name. It's not written down either. But there's a third, which is a second love interest.
I only read the first and second.
No, there's a third person that is her love interest. So she has two love interests. This is somewhat of a love triangle. But Shay and Mina are step siblings. Their parents get married. Her mom marries his dad, who is in the MC when she's a little girl. Shay is a handful of years older than her. Nothing crazy, but he's a little bit older.
Enough to be able to dominate the situation.
Yes. Yeah. And I think he kind of somewhat grooms her. Just FYI, guys. I think he somewhat grooms her. Yeah. But he is...
Pretty sure he flat out tells her that's what's happening.
Probably. I don't remember. It's all good. So anyhow, so Shay is... he's got some issues. He has got some major issues. And when Mina gets to be a certain age, he decides that she is going to be his, no questions asked. And that's how that goes. So when the book first starts, her mom and her have been attacked. She is a dancer and she has lost the use of her leg because it was shattered in the attack and her mom was brutally murdered. And Shay is right there, and that's where we start this story. And it moves on. It kind of just goes flashbacks back and forth. It is extremely gritty. There's just not a lot I can say without giving away a lot of the book, but it's very, very gritty. It's in the like top 3 darkest books I have ever read. It is good, but it's just, there's a lot. So we'll talk spoilers here. So if you don't want to know what happens and why it's so dark and what you need to know, then fast forward to this time right here. Let me put that time up. Go skip if you want to. But okay. So the spoilers you guys need in this book. Obviously there is the grooming. Yeah, there's grooming. There's big time grooming.
He pretty much tells her that when he
they're
forces
young,
her
and she starts sleeping in bed next to him, and the parents.
Well, that starts but it's like done because she's the only one who can calm him, and then
that's it.
It's okay that he like sneaks into her room every night and sleeps there because like she's okay with it at that point because she cares about him and wants him to feel better.
And then he forces the relationship on her.
Yes.
And then I'm not going to say who and I'm not going to say what, but there is suicide on page in this book. And it was devastating. And I don't have triggers, but there's a song that's being played during it. And that is like one of my favorite songs. And I couldn't listen to it for a good 6 months after this. It just, I can't. I realized that is a trigger. I never want to see suicide on page again. But there is suicide on page. So those are the major triggers. I'm not going to tell anything else that happens. But
horrific.
It's pretty horrific. It is. It really is. It does have an HEA. It's just, there's these other things that happen first.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get into my age gap MCs. That's all I have left.
I know.
Okay, so I have Welcome, To the Dark Side by Gianna Darling.
Good.
Yes, this is really good.
So pet him. I'll hold him. Thank you. He's pretty.
Dear. So this is this is my review that I wrote on Goodreads when I read this. I think a year ago. I wrote, "This is a fantastic age gap romance with
age gap."
Okay, let me start over.
Okay.
This is a fantastic age gap romance with no time jumps, because I really hate when time jumps happen in an age gap, because true love does not need months or years to figure shit out. That's just me. Okay, so I hate it. There is a time jump for the epilogue, but that's different.
That's different.
I don't like the third act breakup and then 10 years later, I hate that shit. Anyways, so fantastic age gap romance, no time jumps. Just know, in real life, you would not this is it. Read this book and enjoy it, knowing in real life your moral compass would not be okay.
Yeah, so Mandy, what's the book about?
Okay, well, that's really all you need to know. Just read it. So this is... Okay, it's Zeus and Lou, or Foxy. Foxy. So little Lulu is going somewhere with her parents, and this happens very quickly in the book. Her parents are horrible. They're not good parents. She gets shot in a parking lot.
Like
Zeus tries to save her while her own dad just leaves her.
Just standing
exposed and hides himself.
Yeah.
And he is like a well-to-do person in town. Is he like a mayor or something?
Mayor. He's running for mayor or something. Yeah,
and so he's like one of the, well-to-do people in town, but really what a jerk. Like, what a jerk. So she sees him in the hospital, because she goes to the hospital and it turns out she actually has cancer, and her parents don't really stay with her in the hospital. Her nanny does. And she knows Zeus, so she's little, I think she's 6 at the time, or 7. And so this is a 19-year age gap. She knows Zeus is in there, so she actually goes and talks to him in the hospital. It's very sweet. It's done very innocently. They write letters back and forth while he's in prison, because she has no one. I absolutely love the letters, and if the whole book would have just been letters between the two of them, I would have been okay. Yeah. And then we fast forward. She's 17 when their relationship starts. And it goes from there. There's really not much more to say. No. It's hot. It's really good. It's good. I really enjoyed it. It is MC. It is
huge age gap.
Pretty big age gap. So if you have a problem with that sort of thing, just know this isn't the book for you and move on.
Exactly.
But again, you can also recognize that your moral compass would not be okay with this in real life.
Yes. Because mine wouldn't, but I still love the book.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel too.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so my next MC is Razor's Ride by Jamie Bagley. Mandy's laughing, but she enjoys this too.
It is so weird and messed up.
It is so good and messed up, okay? So this is about Beth and Razor. So Beth has been raised, her parents were the Baptist pastors in town. She was the daughter, their only daughter until they adopted her younger sister, Lily. And we find out the dad was pretty abusive. They were very, very strict. They weren't allowed to do basically anything fun. And the parents are gone now, and she's still in this little town working, like she has her own little side business, or her own business of like helping others who like need their groceries picked up, like the little old ladies and stuff. And that's what she does. She does these things. This MC has just moved into town. I think Razor is the vice president. And so Beth and Razor run into each other, and there's just something about her, like she's extremely innocent, and Razor is intrigued by that. So Razor is intrigued by Beth. Beth is kind of intrigued by Razor, and is like he's the opposite of anything that she's ever expected to be with, right? And so you have this connection between the two of them, but yet they're from two different sides of the world. They're the tracks, like two different sides of the coin here. And so this is about their relationship. There are, when you get into the MC club and to become a member, there are some rather kinky ways that they do that there. There's a lot of weird kinky things that go on at this MC, to the point that like other MCs refer to them as like the sex club. But I still love it. I love the whole series. My only thing that I had a hard time with this one is there were like no conjunctions. There was like cannot instead of can't. But then I realized that maybe that's just the way Beth was supposed to talk, because she does, in other books, that wasn't a thing. So I think that was just the way that Beth spoke. So anyhow, I do love these. These are also like comfort reads for me. I go back and read these ones all the time. Mandy's laughing because of the word sex stuff, but it's still great. It's great. So
It's funny that would be a comfort read.
it's a comfort read for me.
So my next book is an age gap again. This is Undeniable by Madeline Sheehan. This is Deuce and Eva, and it is an 18-year age gap. And again, like in the other book I talked about, they meet when she is only 5, but it's strictly like she's just, her dad is a president of a club. He's part of another chapter, and so he sees her occasionally at different things. That's how they meet, but things do happen between them. Oh, this is the book. She's 16 when things start, something happens.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
So she is 16 when something actually does happen. So just so you know there. Things just kind of go back and forth between them, and it's a long ride. There are some things that Deuce does that really bothered me in this book. I mean, things eventually do work out because it is a romance book, but there were times where I really wanted to hurt him.
It's been a while since I read it, and I still remember that.
Yeah.
What?
It was still really good though.
Oh yeah, I loved it too. Yes, definitely. Okay, was that your last one?
That was.
Then this is my last one.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we have Truly's Biker by Misty Walker. Now this is the second in her Royal Bastards MC. Misty Walker often co-writes with Kay Webster, so I do love Misty Walker's writing as well. I love the whole series, but out of the series, Truly's Biker is my favorite. Birdie's Biker is the first one. You might want to start there. It's good too. It's really good, but this is my favorite because this is about Truly, and I think it's Rock. It's R-O-C-H. I really hate to call him Roach, but maybe that's what it is. I don't know. He's the assassin for the MC. Truly has been in love with him since she was 8. Her dad and Rock were in the military together, and they were overseas together, and her dad did not make it home, but Rock did. Yeah, I know, it's sad. And so
wait, no, they were in the military together, so this is like an age gap.
Oh, this is a huge age gap. Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
did I not say that?
You
This is
didn't.
age gap, Mandy. This is age gap. So she's been in love with him since she was 8. He was an adult because that's when he came home from the military. He had promised Truly's dad that he would take care of her mother and her because he didn't make it back.
Okay.
And so all her life he has been looking out for her, but she has been in love with him all her life. And so she wants to get his attention now that she's finally, I don't remember if she was 70. She was close to being of age if she wasn't just 18, because he will not touch her. And she does something extremely stupid to get his attention. And she gets it in the form of something very dangerous, and the MC has to cover her tracks and then take care of her and make sure that something bad doesn't happen. Rock is a very quiet hero. He doesn't talk a lot. He's very grumpy and gruff, and because of the traumas of his past, he does not talk, but he does rescue dogs. And he has this little Chihuahua named Karen that he keeps in the hood of his hoodie. And she barks at everything. It's great. So that was so cute. But I love this one. Definitely check triggers as well, but that's mine.
We're gonna put this in my pile to go home with me.
It is not going home with you.
All right, so make sure you check back for new videos from
Check in your
us
suitcase.
on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. I am getting my book back.